Audience questions need to be submitted basically in the first hour of the program tonight, okay? Before the open to the audience portion of the meeting starts, we need to have your question. After that, we can't take any more questions. Only written questions are going to be asked. You won't have an opportunity to stand up and address the candidates. We feel that will get out of control, take a lot of time. We don't want to be here until midnight. The candidates tonight were invited by the committee, and in no way were obligated to show up tonight. We appreciate those that you've chosen to be here. We thank them for willingness to serve. I think it's fantastic. There's 9 people on here. It's really exciting. There's a lot of energy. There's a whole bunch of energy out here. A lot of people attending, and this is wonderful. This is the way democracy should work. Finally, each candidate has chosen their own seat, okay, on the platform. Therefore, the order of questions is sure to be random and not to give any candidate an advantage. Okay? So we're going to be starting left to right tonight. The first person gets the first question, the second person gets the second, and so on and so forth. And that concludes the introduction. I want to introduce Kenny Garza, writer for the Vermilion Journal. Kenny will be asking questions tonight. Again, these are questions submitted by the committee initially, and then we'll have an opportunity to submit all the audience questions. So write down your questions, get them in. Tonight's your opportunity to ask and hear questions. Okay? So thanks again for the committee. We really appreciate your time.
Just one more thing. Because I was gone there.
We're going to start by having each of you introduce yourselves and talk about yourselves and maybe perhaps what your platform is. So we're just going to start with Malcolm and move right on down, and you'll get Larry will play at 45 seconds.
I'm Malcolm Williams. I'm the commander of the Gambling Post. I sit on the Family Board. I'm also sitting on the board for the charity, all the charities in the state. We have a kind of charitable organization. If you see the monument downtown for our war dead, I asked help and we got that place. And I felt like I do a lot for the veterans, but I look around at the township and I think my expertise will help us in the township. Thank you.
Hello. Hello, I'm Charles Hall. I've lived in the township for going on 11 years, and I think that my expertise with infrastructure can help the township out immensely. I have multiple licenses that also may be able to help the township up. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Nancy Sauer. I don't know what I want to say. I am on the BCA as an alternate. I've been working to get the ditch put in on Route 60 through ODOT. And that's pretty much it. Thank you.
I am Joseph Trader. I'm a lifelong township resident, 6th generation, if you want to go back that far. I held leadership positions on various things since about 4th grade and 4-H. I'm currently serving as Erie County Farm Bureau President and Director on the Fair Board. Through those things, I do have familiarity with most of the state, local, and federal governments and different things. And I guess I'm running because I think the township needs to focus more on the basics. We got too distracted by other stuff. We need to focus on maintaining the township. You know, I don't think so.
My name is Don Rowe. I'm a Vermilion Township trustee. Is it on? Yeah. Okay.
So sorry.
Mr. Dean, we might have to pause that for. Am I down to 5 seconds?
It's because you're by that dog. That's our speaker.
Okay.
That's probably why you're there.
Okay, we're gonna try to improvise. Is that okay?
I don't think it's
Well, is your
on.
mic on?
It's on.
I can't hear you.
Yeah,
So,
it's not on.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. Didn't realize you had that.
let's try that. Can you hear me?
There
All right.
you go. Sorry.
Okay. My name is Don Rowe. I'm a Vermilion Township trustee. Can you not hear me? No? How about now? Is that better? Okay, I'll try to talk. Sorry. It's an experiment in progress. My name is Don Rowe. I'm a Vermilion Township trustee. I am also vice chair of the board of trustees. I can tell that one off. Where's our help? It's all the way up. Can you hear me back? You can hear me back.
Use your cheerleading voice.
I've been a Vermilion Township resident for 33 years. Prior to that, I lived in the city of Vermilion for 10 years. Along with my wife Teresa. Got that?
No, that wasn't me.
Okay. My wife Teresa is on the front row here. Shortly, we're going to be married for 48 years, and we have 2 children that graduated from Vermilion High School. I'm a retired UAW union official. Along with that comes an awful lot of experience of contract negotiations. I'm a negotiator. I'm also a relationship builder, and I'm also a bridge builder. And I can tell you this, maybe we'll get into it a little bit further in the meeting. There needs to be some bridges that need to be rebuilt between the Vermilion Township and Erie County. And the trustee board currently, of which I'm a member, is working very vehemently on that. And we need that to move forward in the future. Thank you. There you go, Tom.
Pass it down. Evening, everybody. My name's Kurt Johnson. I'm currently a Vermilion Township trustee. I've been a resident here for 36 years. My wife is over there, married 32. My children have been here, gone through school, lifelong residents as well. I reiterate what Trustee Rowe was saying. Building bridges with the county and the state are something that's really crucial. It's very important that we keep our roots. Growth is great, but having control of it is something that needs to be done. And I hope that that is something I can do for this township. Thank you.
We'll try this and see if it works. My name is Tom Kirkmeyer, and I'm from Grand Harbor. I bought my first condo at Grand Harbor in 1998, and full-time here 10 years. It'll be 10 years that I've been here full-time. And in January, I retired for the 3rd time in my career, and I decided I'd start going up to see what was going on in Vermilion Township. And I went to the first meeting in January, and I said, it just seems to be discourse. And so I continued to go, and I got more interested, and I said to myself, you know, I own property in Vermilion Township. The township's gonna grow, whether we like it or not. I've owned property in Strongsville, Columbia Station. I wanna make sure we're ready for what happens in the future. We need to get light industry and our act together. So, thank you.
Good evening. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Keith Sexton, married to my wife for 35 years, both lifelong residents.
longtime business owner of Erie TV Appliance. I work with private equity investment groups, with experience in construction, budgeting, and property management. January of 2024, I was appointed Vermilion Township Administrator. During my time as Township Administrator, I was able to complete needed building maintenance and projects and developed a multi-infrastructure plan in our township. In 1 year, we completed several property maintenance projects. Proud to say that we completed $512,000 in road and stormwater improvements in the township. We repaved sections of Thompson Road, South Foreman. We microsurfaced Thompson and Trenner. Applied reclamite rejuvenation to Lime, Chardonnay, and Foreman. We completed the Cohen Road project that sat idle on our township shelves for 20 years. I secured a grant for $311,000 provided by the Erie County Commissioners Infrastructure Program. This grant fully funded that Cohen Road project. Attended meetings with the Erie County Regional Planning and County Engineer Department to review the state Route 60 floodplain, and I'm the only township candidate endorsed by Erie County Republican Party. Thank you.
Hi. Sorry. I'm Katie Lalonde. I've lived in the township for probably over 25 years, lived in Vermilion my whole life. I have been attending the township meetings for the past 6 years, so I'm pretty well versed on all of the controversy and topics and projects and all of that. I'm just really looking to work as a team. I've done that historically. I helped start and finish Sherrod Park. I've worked with the schools. I've worked with the city on some youth programs to get things going for kids, collecting funds for them to have to pay back or buy back equipment or whatever is needed for kids. So I have a history of working with different groups and teams and being productive and showing the results. Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to come to the part where our group has kind of identified some areas.
They both can't be on at the same time. Okay, gotcha.
Okay, our group identified some areas of concern in the township, and the very first of these has to do with building, zoning, and future development. So we're just going to go start with Katie down. Katie, the first question is, do you think bringing the building department back to the township would generate enough income to justify the expense? Yeah, you can, mine's on.
Okay. I mean, I'm pretty loud, so I might not need it. I think if you were to bring the building department back, I think you would need to look at where it's been with the city and what has it renovated or not renovated revenue, to see if maybe that is something that we can take back. I feel like there were some issues with it being in the township previously. We've had some turnover, so it's kind of been secured and nice that it was in the building department of the city, but it could be something that we look at to bring back into the township, and maybe it would be profitable or worthwhile to have. If not, I think the wheel's not broken, we don't need to fix it, and you could leave it there.
All right, the second question goes to Keith. A source of a lot of dysfunction within the township seems to be the trustees getting involved in building and zoning issues. How do you propose to keep the trustees doing what they've been elected to do, which is basically roads and ditches?
So a trustee's responsibility are road, ditches, cemeteries, and the infrastructure. The zoning portion is left strictly up to the zoning official that they appoint for that position. They are also permitted to hold it upside down.
That sounds terrible.
Try that.
Nope. Just turn it off.
So the zoning department's turned over to the zoning official, which is appointed by the trustees. And at that point, it's basically hands off. They can converse with the zoning official. They can appoint people to the Board of Zoning Appeals, the zoning board, but it's entirely up to the zoning official. It's his own entity. And I believe that The trustees should focus in on what they've got: roads, ditches, bridges, infrastructure, and cemeteries.
Tom, how would you justify the disparity of a zoning permit fee from one resident to the other? For example, at the last meeting, we had a gentleman whose zoning fees would have been about $150, another over $500.
I think we'd have to look hard and run some numbers, crunch some numbers to see, number one, how those fees change. I don't know if I had any real clarity to how that worked out. So transparency is a big thing. We should have that transparency to see just how these fees are structured and where they come from. And speaking of fees, there's some new development that's going on at Mr. Brown's place, the mansion, and some other places in Vermilion Township. And I think the new people should be paying their fair share of some of these fees to help build infrastructure for the future in a fair, transparent way.
Next is Kurt. When a developer knocks on the door of the township, what do you suggest we have available for them, and what limitations, if any, would you put on development?
Think if a developer comes knocking on the door wanting to do some building or subdivision or even just building a home. I think one of the first things we have to do is see what kind of builder and see what kind of gentlemen that are building construction they do. One, I think we also have to make sure that they are building a house that is healthy for what the township is. I think bringing that to the table and making sure that they are building a home that represents what the township is about, proper acreage, the whole structure, and following that up with the zoning instructor and zoning and administration to make that happen. I think the process is never a fast one, it's always a slow one, but it does get done. And I think that's some of the stuff we need to do.
All right, Don, where do you see State Route 60 and the township development 5 years from now?
That's a good question. And on Route 60, can you hear me back? On Route 60, the township trustees and myself, Kurt Johnson and Bachman, are already in discussions with some property owners on 60. And one of those, and I'll have to keep what it's going to be and who is doing it. They've asked to keep that private, but one is going to be an individual business I think everybody will like. And we're in discussions on another one on Route 60 that has several acres with it that they want to potentially do a restaurant, pavilion for entertainment, and some other things like that. And then down Route 60 a little further, there's a gentleman that has 100 acres. He has talked to Kurt Johnson and myself, and he likes development of residents, but he also liked talking to Kurt and myself about the development of a potential campground.
Okay, Joe, the township is very diverse. It has lakefront, farms, commercial, apartments. How do you manage this diversity yet keep it moving forward?
Well, I think in a lot of cases, as far as the diversity, a lot of that was laid out when the zoning sections were laid out. You get closer to lake, you get more commercial, smaller residential, further south, more agricultural. So it's the balance of where that development or whatnot fits into the zoning code as it is now. And depending on the area, if there's slight tweaks, it can need to be involved and make it happen.
Nancy, you're next. Nancy, how would you manage commercial development along major corridors or near residential areas to prevent sprawl and maintain the community character?
Number one, I would find out how big they want it to be, and how that would influence the traffic pattern, whether we could handle that.
zoning department currently runs at a loss, as the inspector currently gets paid more than comes in permit fees. If the building department, it will still run at a loss if we bring it in. Do you think this should continue? And if not, how would you change that?
Well, we could bring a third-party inspection outfit in to do all of our inspections. We would have to pay them, obviously. I don't know if it'd be the less or a little bit more than what the zoning inspector is currently making. I would have to think that it would break even.
And Malcolm, last but not least, how do you plan to balance the township's growth with preserving its character through zoning policy?
Well, the first thing I've ever heard anybody mention is to have the growth, first of all, you gotta have the infrastructure. Where do we tie them all in? We don't know what's gonna happen with sewer and Vermilion. Okay, if you're gonna put in a business for 100 units, where's the sewage system? We have to solve the infrastructure problem for growth. If you solve the infrastructure problem, it will probably help with our residents. For example, if we run the sewage line further, a lot of people, if they have a problem, will run out, put in a new sewage system for a house is astronomical. But if you could tie home, so to me, we have to address our infrastructure.
Okay, that's the building zoning community or the development part of our questions. And now we're going to go to the fire levy. And Malcolm, we'll start with you. So what do you think the impact of the new levy with the 348% increase per $100,000, which is, it'll go from $39 to $175, will have on residents?
I think it's gonna get voted down.
Did
We
you want
just
to
had
go
the biggest property, we just had the biggest property tax increase since I've been here, this year. A lot of these problems have been ongoing for a lot of years and nobody planned for them, and now all of a sudden, we wanna do it all at once. I'm not voting for it. My opinion would be they need to take a smaller bite, pick a project, ask us to fund that, get that completed, then do another. Instead of coming out and saying, we need all this money to do all this right now. Well, it didn't happen right now.
Okay, Chuck, a county blue ribbon panel was put together to suggest regionalization and the feasibility of fire and EMS districts to cut costs for these services. What is your take on this proposal?
So what you're saying is they'd like to combine, like say Vermilion and Vermilion Township together?
Correct.
I would have to agree with that. I mean, make it a fire district that they can work together. They already do because of mutual aid, so I don't see a problem with that.
Nancy, do you think that the fire departments could lower costs and create efficiencies by working with surrounding departments?
Yes, I do. I do believe so. They work together now. So, yes, definitely.
Okay, Joe, the city of Vermilion and Vermilion Township at one time shared services. There is now a shortage of firefighters according to both chiefs. Yet both still run separate departments. What is your vision for the future of township fire and EMS services given the cost?
Well, given the cost, we're gonna have to do everything we can to maintain it now that we've started it. And there's other townships around that are having real issues hiring EMS currently, so we're gonna have to try to maintain that. If the departments within the township were willing to work together, which I'm not sure would happen based on past history with that, it would be one option to look at. But we're gonna have to manage it the best we can, and it's gonna take funding to run it, and we're gonna maintain services.
Don, the township fire department currently receives $224,000 a year, give or take, from a continuous levy, and is now asking voters to increase that to $1.12 million continuously. We have not seen a specific plan where these additional dollars are going. How do you feel about this increase?
Frank Triana, our fire chief, at the trustee board earlier in the year, very diligently laid out the cost of operating the fire department, EMS runs, money involved, and the fact that in the future, the funding will not be there to support the fire department and the EMS runs. So when that took place, and by the way, our fire department does a job second to none. And when there's going to be a money shortage in the future, when that word went out to the township residents, they started talking to the trustees and saying, what are we going to do? So the levy is on the ballot. I would like to explain a little bit about the levy a little bit further because there's some misunderstandings about it. However, the bottom line is, it is the job of the trustees to bring that levy to the ballot. It is up to the Vermilion Township voters on how they're going to vote. If they vote for it, it'll pass. If they vote against it, it will fail. It is a decision of the township voters.
Kurt, the city of Vermilion is in the process of evaluating its own ambulance services, and Brownhelm Township just recently approved monies to help pay for ambulance. Should the township join in a study to consider administrative costs and pooling of firefighters and EMTs to see how to better serve its residents?
We have ambulance services now. They do an outstanding job. Doing some of the fire or the emergency services that they offer for some of the other townships, the response times can be questionable. This is a conversation that Trustee Rowe and Trustee Bachman and I went to some meetings to actually talk about doing so. The cost is questionable for what it would cost. The timeline for getting people to an ambulance would be quite challenging. By keeping it in-house, I think that we are better off staying this way. I'm not happy with the numbers that I saw to try and bring in a company to do it, and I think a lot of townships are going to run into that very same problem.
Tom, if the fire levy fails, how do you imagine services working over the next 10 years?
Well, I think if the levy fails, I think it's going to fail. I agree with Malcolm. Let's a little bit at a time. I mean, we're asking for ladder trucks, big ladder trucks in the big building, and I don't know all the details, so I don't want to get off on a rant on the details, but it's just too much to ask for right out of the gate. So 10 years is a long time. I think we can go back to the drawing board, look at all the options, see if we can't come up with some share thing with all the departments that are around us that work out. So that 10-year thing just doesn't work for me. But my point is, let's go back to the drawing board and really look at how we can better everyone.
Keith, how do you justify asking residents to pay more in real estate taxes for the fire department levy? Are there other funding options you would explore before supporting a tax increase?
Obviously, there's grant funding out there that's available, as I mentioned before. I'm going to assume that everyone put together, the trustees put together a comprehensive plan before they put this on the ballot. If the ballot passes, great. If the ballot fails, we'll have to deal with it. Either way, we have to be fiscally responsible for the funding that goes into the fire department. The way we did business 20 years ago and provide the service isn't the way we do business today. We have to make changes. Fiscally, we have to be responsible. Fire engines cost more money. Retaining help or talent is almost impossible. This isn't a local problem. This is a country-wide problem, not county, countrywide problem. So it's something that, obviously we'll need to address after the election.
And Katie, do you support the proposed increase in real estate taxes to fund the township fire department levy, and why or why not?
I would say that I would need to see all of the details. I've sat at those meetings where they've talked about all of it, but actually looking at the numbers and comparing and seeing what that would look like in the forecast for us, I think it's great that you just put it on the ballot and you let the residents decide if they feel that it's necessary or that they don't. But to some of the other points, if it was to fail, you're still gonna have to have those services. It's something that you offer, it's a service that the township has. So I support it being on the ballot and letting the residents decide if they would like that increase or not.
Okay, this is our last group of prepared questions that we've done, and it deals with township professionalism and conduct. So we're going to start with Chuck. We're going to start going every other one now. The township trustee has a sizable lawsuit against former trustees for what he maintains was an infringement of his constitutional right to free speech. How do you feel about the lawsuit? And are you concerned that you may be the subject of future litigation being a township trustee?
How I feel about it is that, you know, when it goes through the courts, I mean, I'd rather see him settle out of court and get it over and done with. And if not, it's got to go to a jury trial, and it is what it is. And yes, I feel that it could open up Pandora's box for further lawsuits.
Joe, 2 trustees and the zoning inspector resigned this year, which is a sign of dysfunction in the ranks. How would you repair this?
I'm not sure the best way to repair it, I suppose, is try to do your best to work together with whoever you're in with, and hopefully you get a group of people in there that's not prone to quitting. We had numerous offices and various things, and I've never quit my position once. But work through the dysfunction, try to focus on the basics and not get drunk down with all the drama. We're there to maintain the township and the roads and the fire. We're not there to fight over every little issue.
All right, Kurt, what experiences have you had that will enable you to fulfill the trustee's responsibilities?
Well, being a trustee right now certainly has helped. I have been at the meetings for almost 4 years now. I have been able to experience quite a lot of lessons by watching some of the other trustees that have been here, realizing what things should not be done, what things should be, working as a unit. Always having the same idea is not a good thing. Being always able to state your opinion and be clear about it, be professional, is paramount to making this township run smoothly and not being considered a joke. And when the residents come, they know that the job is getting done correctly, properly, and with the intent for the township residents to have a good board to work on.
Keith, how would you make changes to bring professionalism and trustworthiness to the Board of Trustees?
I've worked in a professional atmosphere before. You know, I know how to conduct myself in a public forum as well as in a meeting. I think negotiations are all about compromise. And as Mr. Trenner stated, we all have to have an understanding on how we get along and how we can be in the middle to just strictly do business in the township. Exclude all the white ones. We need to get back to doing business.
A township trustee is a representative of all citizens of the township, not a defender of a special interest of a person or group. How would you ensure that the board is balanced and able to work effectively with all interested parties?
I think that goes back to working as a team. So if a resident comes to you and they have a problem or an issue, you don't always have to give them the answer right then and there. You need to go back, do your research, give them the answer. Once you have collectively collected all of the information, and you have to work as a team. It is not just one person running the township. It is a board of 3 individuals, and you're not going to always get along, but you have to work together. That is your sole purpose of getting you the answers and getting the information and being professional about it.
Tom, as a trustee, how do you respond to concerns that some past decisions have benefited a narrow group rather than the entire township?
think we can have favoritism. There's no room for it in politics, as far as I'm concerned. And so I would review that. And the other thing I would do is I would always listen and count on the legal counsel that's provided to you through the county. So before you make a decision as a trustee that affects the township, the one thing you have is you have your legal counsel. That's what they're there for. That's what they get paid for. That's who you need to talk to, sit with, listen to them. You might not like what they have to say all the time, but legal counsel is key to anything in the township. I know that on one of my boards, well, I don't have enough time, so, okay, that's what I'm going to say.
Right, Don, how will you ensure transparency, accountability, and respectful behavior both with fellow trustees and with the public?
I believe that if anyone would like to see how the Board of Trustees, along with our fiscal officer and our other department heads, the fire department, the road crew, and our zoning inspector, Administrator Joe Baxter, I would encourage all of you to start attending the Township Board of Trustee meetings. You can see how we operate. There have been several people that have attended these meetings, and they have either read the photo journal or whatever, and when they come to the meetings and watch us operate and how we do business, working along with the other department heads, the fire department, road crew, and our fiscal officer, they have actually approached us at the board and said, this is not at all what we've read about. It's great to see you guys getting along, making decisions. Now, we don't always get along because we're individual people that have ideas. But in the end, the objective is to do the best thing that we can for the township residents.
Nancy, how would you handle conflicts of interest when voting on zoning decisions involving developers or property owners you know personally?
I would pass that off on the people that I'm working with and talk it over with them, because I don't want to get caught in the middle saying that I'm being favorites.
And Malcolm, once again, last but not least, the township relies on trust in its leaders. How do you rebuild trust if residents feel decisions have been made unethically?
Well, first of all, you always follow the Ohio Revised Code. But the big thing to me is we don't give an opportunity for people to voice these before the meeting. Due to the sunshine law, if you don't know, anytime two trustees get together, that's a meeting. So how do you spend $2 million a year when you only meet an hour? My thing is you should have two meetings, one in the middle of the month, it's open to the public, no participation, where you do what I would call a workshop. The three trustees sit there and discuss all the projects. You can't vote, but the public can hear what you're going to bring up at the meeting, and they can be ready to ask questions, give you input, write you a note, tell you where there's some more information. That would be how I do it.
And that ends the group question part of our session. And now Dave Stripmather is going to have some questions that have been vetted. You've all have asked your questions, and I'm supposed to have some questions up here to ask you guys.
I'd just like to make a note that as we were going through these questions, many of those that were asked by the audience were addressed by the panel as well. So that's why you may not see your question here.
Right, so some of these are specific to people up here and some of these are not. So I'm going to ask the ones that are specific first, and then after that we're going to just take them straight down. This one goes to Keith Sexton. Why did you abruptly resign from your township position 6 months ago, and what makes you qualified to be our township trustee?
Great question, and I appreciate that. I was an at-will appointed official. We put together a infrastructure plan with 2 trustees that were stepping down for personal reasons. I didn't have a vote, and I was seeing the direction in which the township was heading, and I felt it was in my best interest to step down. Now I'm asking for your vote to help Vermilion Township move on with this infrastructure plan. As a trustee, I can make a difference because I'll have a vote.
And this, the next question goes to, it says to the 2 current trustees, so that would be Don and Kurt. Do you think the correct decision was made by the current zoning inspector as his first official duty to issue a zoning certificate for the Novotny pallet fence after it was decided by 4 prior zoning inspectors, the BZA, and the courts that it did not meet the zoning code? If yes, a precedent has been set. Will you be, or if you're, will you be okay if your neighbor puts up a pallet fence?
You want to say?
Yeah, but answer.
Anyone.
Maybe both.
The Novotny farm market lawsuit had been going on for several years prior to Kurt Johnson and myself becoming trustees. And whoever asked that question did not do enough research on the Novotny issue. If they would have done the research, they would have said, which was referred to, that 4 different administrators said that he was in the wrong. That is not accurate. All you have to do is go back to the township trustee board meetings where Mr. Novotny came to those meetings and brought documents from the inspectors that said that he was compliant, that he didn't have to have a fence. And he had all those documents. So when we took office, that was reviewed and an issue was given to Novotny according to all the documents that we had looked at, and he is compliant.
Go ahead.
I just came into the office. I was not, unfortunately, I cannot state what was going on from the previous years for Mr. Novotny. I was just stepping into the appointment as trustee, so I was not, quite honestly, aware. I consider say that I know a bunch of stuff that was going on from that, but I was not aware at the time.
All right, we'll start with Malcolm. How will you, if elected, restore confidence in the trustees and work with the Erie County Commissioners?
Well, like I said, the first thing is, I don't know how you spend $2 million and you can only get together an hour a month. The Sunshine Law does not allow that. Same thing applies to the Erie County Commissioners. If more than a couple of them get together, you gotta have the public. So, the first thing you do is, he's gonna ring me for out of time, but we don't have a plan from the people when we have a trustee meeting. Like I said, we should have a meeting where we take input, where we show them what we're gonna do, and then when we go to the meeting and vote on it, they can give us more information. We have a lot of expertise in this community that we do not take advantage of. Same with the Erie County Commissioners. If you could publish what you're gonna do before you have the meeting. My time's up, thank you.
Come over here. Katie, in the last 2 years, how many meetings have you been to? If not, most explain why.
So to be honest, in the last 2 years, maybe a handful due to children in sports, but I honestly, maybe less than 10 meetings in the last 6 years I have missed. I've been to about every single one of them.
And then we'll go to Chuck. When a trustee chairman asks you to do things unethical or tell you to bend the rules, how do you stand up to him and uphold the rules and the laws of the township?
Well, at that point, I think you need to reach out to legal counsel and get their opinion in which direction to go with it. And go off of what they suggest. Because you can't be doing unethical things in general.
Right, Keith, what are your priorities and how will you solve them?
So I put together an infrastructure plan approximately 2024. I'd like to re-implement that and get focused on that, have some shovel-ready projects. I think the priority is to get together, identify, prioritize our road, bridges, and our infrastructure issues that we have, budgetize, those to see which ones we can address first. Reach out, look for grants. We do have money right now that's appropriated towards some of the projects. I don't think some of the projects are going to get completed this year, so we need to take a look at those moving down the road. But again, I think re-implement that infrastructure plan, have shovel-ready projects always on our shelf, and be prepared if a grant opportunity presents itself or financially we can afford to go ahead and address those.
Nancy, how do you feel about the township being annexed into the city of Vermilion?
I am completely against it. I don't think that we're separate now, and we need to stay separate. We have our own government on each end, the city government and the township government.
Tom, given the increase in housing development and business, there will be a need to make decisions about the plans they submit. The last group of trustees do not have the experience working with builders and it costs the township a lot of money. What experience do you have looking at the PUD submitted and making these decisions?
I can tell you that in 1987, I operated an airport in Strongsville. There's now 520 homes where that airport was at one time. I did a lot of research, and we knew what money was actually going to come from each house to take care of trash removal, fire protection, police protection, and it was minimal. So with new development coming in, we have to get our act together. We need to have zoning rules, make sure we hold them accountable to it, and make sure that these developers are going to develop it the way we want it developed. I watched it go on in Columbia Station. Same thing. Columbia Station's growing to the next, Strongsville, and it's going to be coming this way. So I've got a lot of experience on how we can handle that. So I bring that to the table.
And I guess this is a general question. I'm curious as to why no one running for trustee has volunteered to donate their time to help with something as simple as the township cleanup.
That's a scolding.
Yeah, it is a scolding.
That's cool.
And the rest of these have been vetted out, so. And that's all I have.
I have something for you.
Oh.
So, if we were allowed to help them, the trustees, during the cleanup, I would gladly help on cleanup day. I'm allergic to hard work.
And so the last part of our session here is for the candidates to give summations. Each of you can stand and tell us why you're running, why you should be elected, and what skill set you bring to the position. And we'll start with the last person who answered the audience questions, which is John.
I have a background in construction, infrastructure. I'm already on the BCA. I think that I can really help the township out with a lot of problems infrastructure-wise that they're having. That's it. Sorry.
Malcolm, go ahead.
Well, my background is nuclear engineering. I can do everything to a reactor and a submarine there to do. So my mechanical skills are there. The big thing is I've managed a lot of multi-million-dollar budgets. Right now, we need to manage our money and put it where it needs to be and make sure we do that in an appropriate fashion to benefit all of you. That's the reason I say the other thing we have to do, everybody's talking about, well, how do you handle this, how do you handle that? You go by Ohio revised code. If you follow the rules, everybody is treated the same. If you try to fudge on the rules, that's where we get into partisanship or the good old buddy system. And like some of them said, if If you don't know, ask the lawyer. But if everybody has to abide by the rules, you're the voter, you can change the rules. But if we all live by them as trustees, nobody is treated unfairly.
Nancy?
I am brand new to all of this. So I learned real quick. I have surrounded myself with people who know what's going on, and I can ask questions and get guidance from them.
Joe?
So this might be reiteration, I guess, for more background. I currently farm, so I'm used to running a business on my own, more or less. I do have an engineering degree from Ohio State University as background information. I sit before at numerous leadership offices in different clubs and organizations over the years, some of them elected at the county level. At one point or another, I have met with every local elected official all the way up to the federal level, for the most part, from the state of Ohio. And I think we just need to, like I said, my focus would be on maintaining the roads and the fire department.
Don?
As I stated earlier, I'm a trustee currently. My background is very diverse. I built homes in Erie County. I built the home that I'm living in now on Kneisel Road. My family are huge contractors, so I bring that to the table. As I said, I'm a negotiator, highly skilled, trained by the UAW. Ford and the UAW paid tremendous money for my education. So as building and development is coming to Vermilion Township, how long, it's not that long ago, and there's a lot of people, as I look across the audience here, that remember Avon was what we would refer to as a cow town. Go over there now, and it is so compact with business. Business development is going to happen here. And as a trustee, I have a skill set with contract negotiations and also negotiations. And we will form people like Bill Vi and other people that have businesses in this township. When development comes in, we want to glean information from everyone, so we can do the best we possibly can for the township residents.
Kurt?
As I stated before, I'm lived here 36 years, owned my business for 36 years. My family is lifelong. I think one of the things as your current trustee is that growth is coming. This township needs to learn how to work together. The residents, I welcome you guys to come to these meetings and state your thoughts and opinions, because we're here to make the decisions for you guys, and we need to hear your voice about how you want construction to go, where you want growth, commercial, residential. It's all important for the flow of this town. I myself love a country town. I'd like to make sure that we keep it as country as long as we can. Unfortunately, things are coming. But I think it's so important that everybody here puts a part in giving their opinion on how it should go. Because there are some brilliant people out here. And their thoughts, along with everybody that's on this panel that cares, it's important. Thank you.
Mr. Krugermeyer?
Well, to maybe rewind the tape just a little bit, when I was talking earlier, one of the third meeting, maybe the third month that I went to the meetings, I kind of questioned how they appointed these new trustees. And I had said, hey, I'm throwing my hat in the ring before the process even started. But I'm glad I did throw my hat in the ring, because look what we got. We got people interested. We got people that want to get involved. All these guys are enthused about it, just like me. A guy that's come from Strongsville, an old property in Strongsville, watched it develop, but guided how it was developed. Same thing with Columbia Station. You know, Columbia Station, the old Avon, the old cow patch, it's now being developed. It's coming. So we need to look for light industry, stuff like that that can build the tax base so that we can make Vermilion a place where everybody wants to live.
Yes, Vermilion Township needs knowledgeable professional leadership to provide stability in an ever-changing environment. My background in business management, construction, property management, zoning and administration make me the most qualified candidate for the position of Vermilion Township trustee. I will continue to aggressively pursue grants, opportunities, and fundings with the goal to improving, upgrading our roads and our infrastructures, providing growth in the community without compromising the integrity of our infrastructure or eroding the very essence that makes Vermilion Township a unique place to live. The Republican Party of Erie County has shown a great deal of faith in my ability to provide steady leadership by endorsing my campaign. But now it will require you and your trust and your confidence in me that I will do the right thing and have the best interest of Vermilion Township at hand. On November 4th, let's get back to business. Thank you.
And Ms. Kate.
Thank you. Just to reiterate what I started with, I've spent the last 6 years at these meetings, so it's not uncommon what's going on and knowing where we need to pick up and continue to move forward. I've spent 6 years networking with all different groups and individuals for many different projects, working with different teams to be successful in the completion of what we were working towards. I feel like I've made a name for myself. I've worked very hard at making that name, and I have a positive feedback, I would assume, of getting the projects done, working as a team, being professional, and that's what we need to do in Vermilion Township.
Thank you. We would like to thank, first of all of you for coming, because the size of the crowd tonight shows that you all care about Vermilion Township and what happens in it. But we would also like to thank all 9 candidates. It's a record number of candidates coming out for 2 positions. So that shows there's a passion for Vermilion Township, but also a passion to make it better. We'd like to thank Larry Dean for being our timekeeper, Kathy Niddle and Dave Scribmander for vetting the audience questions, Greenie Brack making sure I don't forget anybody, and of course Bill Vine for organizing this event this evening. Thank you very much.